Welcome to another episode of Love Life Hacks. Hello, I am your host, Tracey Love, and this is my husband,
Chris Silber.
This is wonderful because we took a little break and now we're back. And
yes, Tracey Love Graves, we are back. You forgot your other last name. It's fine.
That's my stage name.
Oh, okay.
My government name is my stage name, but I go by my nickname on the streets of social media, which is where we are.
Let's keep confusing people. I love it already.
And actually, we're on the streets also because today is a special episode of Love Life Hacks. We are out and about in the world.
Out and about.
Which is a love life hack, right? Spending time with your partner.
Do you want to hear our engine start moving?
Yeah, you're about to hear the engine start, or maybe not, because perhaps I'll cut it out. So let's go for it.
But she's a great engine. Look. Smooth. So smooth.
Gotta turn that AC down. Ooh, it's blowing. AC's blowing. AC's blowing. AC's blowing. And it's hot. Ooh. Oh. Shoot.
So where are we going?
We're going to the grocery store to go purchase ingredients to make mimosas because today is
Mother's Day.
Today is Mother's Day, which is wonderful.
And in a week is Stepmother's Day, so this lady gets it twice.
And that's in this episode will be uploaded on Stepmother's Day, Sunday, May 21st, 2023. But, you know, we are celebrating all mothers, all alternative mothers, all stepmothers, all caregivers that identify as female today and every day.
Hallelujah.
Stepmothering is pretty interesting. Do we have any stepmothers listening? Raise your hand.
Oh, I see a lot of hands raised.
I see a lot of hands raised. Did I say stepmother listening? Did I say that correctly?
I think the stepmothers are an audience for you. I think the stepmothers are waiting to hear from you.
Yeah, what are they waiting to hear?
Well, I mean, as I said in a post recently celebrating my wonderful wife on Mother's Day, no love amazes me more than the love of a woman who, or someone identifying as such, who gives motherly love to someone that did not come through their own body.
Right.
Think about that for a minute, right?
Yeah.
I see you doing that all the time, and it's very moving and it's very beautiful to see you do that.
It's not easy.
Talk about that.
Talk about it. It's well, you know, you and I chose each other. I did not choose the children. The children did not choose me. Yet here we are in a home where we need to get along. And now we're one down. We have Sam who lives in Berlin, so we only live with Sarah in the home. But Sam is still very much a part of this family and is still a stepchild that I am building a relationship with. And usually, like I said, we get to choose our friends. We get to choose our partners. But in a step-parent, step-child relationship, that choice is really taken away from us. And we are just kind of told, hey, you guys have to get along. Now, do it.
Well, it's funny because what you just said reminded me of the movie that we wrote together. The Christmas movie, the story for it. And there's a line in there that line came from you, where the woman who plays you in the movie says, I'm not going to have my love story with the man I chose, with the soulmate that I chose, be fucked up by his roommates who are going to move out at some point anyways.
Exactly.
That's one perspective. It was a great line.
Exactly. I know. I wrote it. Amen. A Christmas love story comes out this Christmas. Probably under a different title, The Gifted Family.
The Gifted Family, probably. It's a German film. It might run in some other countries too. It's a Christmas movie, but English language remake is very much in the planning.
Yeah, no, we have to do that because it's a story that it's universal. Blended families are happening every day. Every day, someone is joining a family right now. You see this woman pulling out? She's a stepmother. She's going home to her punk ass stepkids right now. She's not having as great a time as we are, and we are having a good time.
I mean, I've also talked about the fact that when it comes to choices, right? It also brought up a thought for me.
Look what time it is.
Hey, 222.
Yay.
Yes. We do affirmations at 222.
10, 10, 10, 10, and 3.
10 and 3, 10 and 3, 10 and 3.
Debt free.
10 and 10, 10 and 10, 10 and 10, 10 and 3. Okay, that was it. Sorry. We'll explain that later. But or maybe we've already talked about it. Anyways, what came up for when you said choices, and I don't know, it might be helpful for this conversation or not, but when the birth mother of my children, my former wife, passed away, I also did not choose that life. Mm-hmm. I chose to have children with her, yes, but I didn't choose to be a single dad.
Right.
Raising those kids on my own. That was not a choice that I had made or planned for. Mm-hmm. And that's an interesting thing that also I think we talk about a little bit in the movie, and that comes up in our conversations quite a bit too, because when you're in that situation, you're a single parent, not by choice. You're looking for someone to do the journey with you, but at the same time, it's so strange to put someone into that position.
To say, hey, get on this journey with me and my 2 kids.
I mean, I see all over social media.
Or
a lot of
you.
people just say, like, I would never date someone with kids and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have friends who have said that openly. I would never date a man with kids.
But let's talk about pros and cons
Of
being a stepmother from your end. Like, I just would like to know, what are your top 3 or 5 or whatever pros of it, and what are your top cons? Maybe the cons first, because they're probably going to be the funny ones.
I'll start with the pros just because that is what you asked and it came to mind first.
But for you personally, like what are things you have gained, and what are things that you could gladly live without in the experience of being a stepmom?
Can we go inside?
Yeah.
This is going to be great. Ooh, the wind is blowing slightly. We're walking into our local grocery store.
Which means we might have to speak up.
You have no problem with that. I'm going to wait until we get inside.
Especially in the grocery store, yes. I can tell you stories about this woman in grocery stores.
There's something magical about a grocery store because everyone is just so serious and, focused on the goal. No one is paying attention to me. And I don't know, maybe there's something about the energy of the food that makes me just want to sing and dance. I don't know. Wow, it's incredibly loud in here.
See, now I could talk about America.
What do you mean?
Because you remember when we were in Germany, when you step into a grocery store, it doesn't feel like you're stepping into a concert hall.
Oh, because everyone's so hush-hush, because...
Yeah. You have to do a lot of cutting.
Don't worry about the editing. You just worry about being. See? That's what holds some people back from living, because they're worried about the final.
Teach me.
Hello.
Teach me, a wise one.
Hello, we're doing well. Happy Mother's Day.
You never know, right?
It's a holiday that we are all celebrating. He came from someone.
Hallelujah. We all came from someone.
All right, vegetable option, asparagus, Brussels. The Brussels are 2 for $5.
Because, this podcast is also about having fun in the relationship. Just so you know. We shouldn't have to tell you that. But we will. For years and years, over and over.
Don't yell at the viewers, please. Okay?
Like this?
That's delicious. Oh, no, that's not. I don't like that. Why do you want to get the one in the bag? What about the...
Is there one that's not in the bag?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Right in front of... Men, bruh. All right.
We all know that men look for things way longer than women. That's a neurological fact.
This is a love life hack. Women, try not to be so hard on your male partners. Orange juice for mimosas. when they can't find anything in the grocery store, because it's just something inherently wrong with men, and we don't know what it is. We're paying a ton of scientists to figure that out right now.
But is it wrong, or is it just is?
Yes, amen. It is just is. Okay, positives and negatives that I have found in my stepmothering journey.
Yes.
Stepmothering has taught me that I do not have to raise my children the way I was raised. And this is beautiful. I could have learned that lesson with my own children, but who knows? I could have effed them up in the process of learning, because I would not have had another human being to give me feedback. So I would have just raised this little baby infant child the same way I was raised. But because I have a teenaged, intelligent stepdaughter, she is able to verbalize what's not working for her.
Wow, that is powerful. That's really powerful.
I feel like another positive would be patience. I have definitely learned a lot more patience from a small child than I would have from a partner. And maybe that has something to do with the way I was raised also. A lot of the women around me are tough. And they're all right fighters. And you can't tell us nothing,
It's too bad you don't have video, because I made a really funny face when she said a lot of the women around me are tough. Can you describe that face? Or
I made a face. Oh, speaking of, the small child has just sent me a message. Or sent us in the group chat. There's a lot that I learned from the stepchildren, that probably would have taken me another 5 to 10 years to learn from the husband.
from a partner, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah.
Because, another positive is I've been forced to have a little more, forced to practice vulnerability. You didn't hear that one yet. Hello, your hair looks great. The third one is vulnerability, for sure. Vulnerability that my acting coaches have been trying to instill in me and get me to experience. Vulnerability that partners have been trying to get me to experience in order to soften and open up in the relationship. Okay, so as a recap, I said positives are that, 1, I've got to practice and I realize in real time that I don't have to raise children the way I was raised, and it's okay. 2, I've learned so much patience. And 3, I've been able to learn and practice vulnerability.
Awesome. You did it.
Those are positives. Whew, didn't think I could get through that. All right, cons. I got a list of 1,200. So cons or negatives, I guess.
No, we don't have to call them negatives. Just things that, it depends on you, but, I'm not a person that likes to argue in positive and negative.
Sure.
I like to more personalize it, like what works for you, what doesn't work for you, or what's welcome to you and what's not so welcome to you.
Yeah.
What has affected your life in ways that you're not so
crazy about,
yeah.
Yeah. It's really hard for me because I am such a positive and optimistic person, and I guess some would say solutions based. It's really hard for me to live with a teenager who is set in their ways. And I have this feeling that a child that comes from my body that I would get to raise from infancy would be more optimistic and outgoing in life and have more ambition, maybe. I don't know. I have this feeling. So it's really hard for me to deal with a teenager who doesn't want anything out of life, especially when this teenager is as intelligent as she is and has so much potential. So it's really hard for me because I don't care for my fears being triggered as much as they are, because that's really all it is. It's just my fear of, oh my God, if you don't start taking these things seriously now, you're gonna be a bum and a slouch for the rest of your life, and you'll never be successful. But that's purely irrational. And we know people who have turned their lives around in their 20s and 30s. Hello, I am one of them. And some would say I'm still turning my life around. So I don't care for my fears being triggered in the way that they are, no matter how irrational they are. That's not fun for me.
Right.
And then I'll say a big giant, but I am learning to work through those, whatever. Sure. It's a practice. I don't care for really being faced with the way technology has just consumed the attention of young people. I don't care for seeing that every day. That really bothers me, and I guess that should go in the same number one as my fears being triggered. I think that's going to be number one. Being a stepmom just triggers the SHIT out of all of my fears.
Right. Maybe it's just your top 3 things are just 3 fears.
I just don't like it. I was doing fine without it.
Well, you know what? To me, it almost sounds like, which is very familiar to me in parenting. Parenting makes you aware of the fact that you are not the young generation anymore, that there's another one, that you're actually the older person now, and that there's new habits and new ways that you may not be as crazy about as the ones that you grew up with.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's not always fun when you're not in on the joke, when you're not the cool one, you know.
Also, I'm being faced with different parenting styles that I'd never really imagined dealing with. I didn't prepare for this.
Right.
I know theoretically that people have different parenting styles, but now I am in a family, in a home where you and I have displayed and display very different styles, and
Yes.
it's an adjustment. And also, I think I had to check my judgments about your choices leading up to these moments, because just like anyone else says, well, what didn't you do? Why are your children this way? Must have been your fault. You were with them. You had control. So I've had to check that in the last year, 2 years, because we actually have no control over who these people will become. Zero. There are great parents who raise assholes and assholes who raise great children, and parents who are very involved who raise unattached kids, and parents who are absent who raise people who could give a F about life. Absolutely. Whatever. Actually, that might be a pro or a positive, because I've had to check my own judgments about your choices.
Oops.
Yeah, but I didn't really expect to have to do that.
I mean, differences about child raising styles or parenting styles are, as you call it, are one of the top 3 reasons why people separate or why relationships fail. And I think there's deeper reasons for that than just that we have different opinions about raising our children. I think one of the deeper reasons for that is that as partners, we also see a parent in our partner for us in some ways, or we somehow, it's hard to not in some way or another kind of want to be parented by your own partner.
We've talked about this before.
I believe in it, so I'm just going to say it out flat. And if it makes you feel uncomfortable, ask yourself why.
Give mommy a hug.
Yeah. Okay,
yes,
yeah. Okay, now I am uncomfortable.
No, yeah, you feel good.
But I'm just saying, like, if I'm really not happy with my partner's parenting style, it could also mean that it reflects something where I feel like a fear of mine is coming up in, like, is my partner the right person to take care of me? Could be.
How do you feel about my step parenting so far?
I am extremely thankful for you being here, because you, on the one hand, I feel like the way I feel about your step parenting has a lot to do with the way I feel about my choice of you as a partner, I feel very confident and very happy about my choice of you as a partner, because I chose somebody who in many ways gets my way of living and yet has qualities that I really don't have. Our qualities complement each other. Because yes, I have a lot more patience than you, and you have a lot more thoroughness and will to tackle things, certain tasks that I'm not good with. Like Sarah's schooling, she would probably not have gotten where she is now.
She wouldn't be in school right now.
With the kind of program she's in and all of that, without you being on it the way you were. Because I'm not great at that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Going after people and studying these millions of documents online and all of that kind of stuff. And you're great at that. You also went through the American school system all the way through college. And so anyways, like that's just one aspect of it, but all over I just see how much our life as a family has improved because you're here, and I feel that Sarah has, as our daughter, has found a place in life for herself and the way to speak her mind and to feel in some way, feel like there's a place for her in life that I think wasn't quite as clear for her before because of everything that happened to our family. So you have a huge role in that, and I'm very thankful.
I love that.
Thank you, honey.
Yeah, those things I can do. Those things come easily to me. It doesn't come easily to me when a teenager is sitting on the sofa and says, "Can you get me some water?" I'm like, you know what, you little son of a... But I'm glad you are here. Yeah. I'm glad you are here to say, you know what? Yes, I will. Because that's beautiful. Because we should all have someone who is here to say, I will serve you. I do love you. I will get up and go get you this snack.
We should all
and
have
go
someone
get you
in our
this
lives
water.
who gives us a break and doesn't go after it all the time. And that's kind of the dynamic we have right now. It's like I give her way more breaks, and you kick her ass a little more. And the combination of the two is really great. You motivate her to do things that she doesn't feel like doing.
I know, kick her ass is like...
Well, yeah, you gotta be careful with the language.
There's a lot more ass kicking in the beginning, but that's...
Right.
That was like, I was in wife swap mode. Do you remember that show, Wife Swap?
Yeah.
Where, you would swap wives, and for the first week, the one wife would just observe. Yeah. And the second week, she'd, lay down the law. And that happened for a little while. And like I said, because we have a teenager who was like, excuse me, no thank you. Don't care for you. Don't want this. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going anywhere, so how can we make this work?
It's also really hot.
Yeah, you are. All right, well, we're going to go. We've just finished our trip, and this was another episode of Love Life Hacks. The purpose of this episode was to discuss life and just chit-chat and walk through the store and talk to strangers. And on our next episode, we're going to go for a walk.
Yeah, and is it cool in your relationship to ask questions like that? Like, what's positive? What do you enjoy about being with me or being the mother of my children? What do you not enjoy? Are you comfortable with those questions?
Absolutely cool. You want to know why? Because even your boss will give you an evaluation. Everyone gets a 90-day or 1-year evaluation. You have to check in. Otherwise, you'll just continue on the same path. And what if something isn't working? How else will we know? What if someone is unhappy? Oftentimes people don't know how to verbalize that until someone asks them, because they feel like no one cares.
So there you have another love life hack. There you have another love life hack. Tracey talked beautifully about feedback today. Be courageous to give each other feedback, not blurting it out when it's not asked for or desired, but creating spaces in which you can give each other feedback is beautiful.
That's true. And also,
in a loving way.
And also sometimes the blurt out is necessary.
Well, it depends.
Because not everyone's going to ask.
Sure.
So if you don't ask me, I'm just supposed to not say it?
Yeah. I mean, I believe that even then it's still better to say, hey, there's something that I really want to tell you, or can we do that?
Oh, that's sweet.
Other than
the
just
advice section.
Just throwing it at people.
Sure. Okay. As opposed to just waking up in the morning and before you say good morning. You're like, you know what?
No, here's what I believe. Okay, so I've seen people. I mean, we have both consulted friends in relationships, friends of ours, for many years. We're both people that are go-to people that people ask us about their relationships, right? That's part of why we're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had many conversations where two people in a relationship have like come to me and said, "Oh my God, I told her this, and she really needed to hear this. You know, she needed to hear this, or he, for a long time, and now it's a huge problem." And I said, "Well, how did you begin the conversation?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually the whole issue. When I then talk to the other partner, I realize if the conversation had been started with creating an atmosphere of permission, like, hey, let's, is it cool? Can we talk about something right now that's uncomfortable? Then the partner might have been open. But if you just out of nowhere blurted it at them.
I hear what you're saying. I do. I hear what you're saying. I also hear the fighters of the world saying, why do I have to ask permission to talk about something? And whether it's right or not, it just is a way of life for some people to not need to say, hi, is it cool if we talk about this? Like, just like it's hard for some people to ask for permission.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
docile
you're with another
people
human being.
And also super strong people.
But then the fighters of this world, I could ask them back, why are you in a relationship? Because you are with another human being and you will never know where they are at.
Yeah.
You could be a super fighting, tough, great, controlling, in a positive way person, like a doer. But one thing you will never be able to do, you'll never be able to control another human being truly, because you don't know what's going on inside of them.
Right.
You can push them, you can manipulate them, you can do all kinds of things with them. You can also win them over with great energy, but you can't really know where they're at inside. So all I'm saying is create an atmosphere where you're on the same page, and then whatever you have to say, no matter how tough it may be, will probably, land better.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Can we end this episode?
Absolutely.
I love you.
I love you, and we love you all.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Love Life Hacks.
Woo-hoo.
I'm your host, Tracey Love Graves.
And I am Chris Silber.
Graves.
Talk to you soon.
You're not taking my last name?
I'm cool with that. Chris Silber Graves. Let's go.
CSG.